welcome to Critical Thinking. This is Hon.Dr.odonga. Today I will talk about my own country, Uganda, that relates to the composition of parliament. Currently we have 556 members of parliament in Uganda. The parliamentary system in Uganda is a representative democracy where people elect their leader to come to the national parliament. And when they come to the national parliament, they do legislation, they do budgeting, and they do oversight. So it is typical of the Greek model of politics. The Parliament of Uganda is constituted under Article 78(1) of the Constitution. The Constitution creates constituencies, and in every constituency there is a member of parliament, and in every district there is a female member of parliament, and we have special interest groups, those representing the army, those representing the youth, those representing persons with less ability. This is the beauty of the Ugandan concept of parliament. But what is of interest to me is that as of now we have 353 constituencies. That means 353 members of parliament. We have 146 districts. That means one woman MP per district. That is 146 members of parliament. But my research and critical thinking today is it a fair representation? The law under Article 63 allows the Electoral Commission to demarcate constituencies. And what basis does the Electoral Commission use to demarcate constituencies? They use the population. So they rely on population to create constituencies. Now, how do we arrive at the population figures? There were population censuses that were conducted in Uganda over the last years. The first census was done in 1911. The second was done in 1921. The third census was done in 1931. The next, 1948. Then we had the census in 1959. And we got our independence in 1962. And we had other censuses. For example, in post-independence in 1969, we had a population census. And I'm going to make specific reference to the population census of 1969. We had in 1980, 1991, 2002, and 2014. Now, according to the 1969 population census, unfortunately, the Uganda Bureau of Statistics does not feel it important to upload these figures. But being a researcher, I went all around the world and got a book written by Curry and Gohead Thomas in 1992. It's called The Encyclopedia of Third World. This is where I got the population statistics of the 1969 census. And please pay attention and listen very keenly. In 1969 population census, it found that the highest ethnic group, the most populous ethnic group in Uganda were the Baganda. They were 16.2% of the population. And the second most populous ethnic group in 1969 were the Itesots. They were 8.1%. The third were the Banyankole. They were 8.0%. The fourth, as per 1969, were Basoga, 7.7%. And after that were the Bachiga, who were 7.1%. These were the most populous tribes according to the 1969 population census. Now, we carried out a census in Uganda, which I am questioning, in 2014 August. Now, look at the statistics. It shows the most populous tribe in Uganda still remains the Baganda with 16.9%. The second populous tribe, Banyankole, with 9.5% of the population. That means the Banyankole produced more children and overtook the Itesots. This is going to be subject to critical thinking and analysis. Then the third became the Basoga, who were 8.4% of the population, and the fourth still remained the Bachiga with 6.9% of the population. So the issue is, what happened that the Itesots, who were second most populous group, their birth rate declined and they were overtaken by the Banyankole. This is now where the politics begins. Odonga is of the opinion that the population census of 2014 is highly grotesquable and questionable. You know, we have some countries, I don't want to mention names because I am a figure at the African continent, that they have failed to count themselves because they have not agreed on the procedure of counting themselves. In Uganda, we counted ourselves. We did not think so much of the procedure that Hon.Dr.odonga is now thinking of the procedures, how we're counted. In some parts of the country, they were hiding the disabled, they were hiding the lame. That means we did not get the exact population figures. And strangely, you count people and release the results after 6, 7, 8 months. That means there is some element of doctoring of population statistics. So if members of parliament are represented basing on the population, so it is in someone's interest to increase their numbers so that they have more members of parliament. Now look at this in Uganda. In eastern Uganda, we have 32 districts. In central, we have 24 districts. In northern Uganda, we have 30 districts. In western Uganda, we have 39 districts. So if you need more MPs, you need more districts. If you need more MPs, you need more people. You should now be putting one-to-one why some ethnic groups increase. Okay, let's dispose of that issue. According to the World Bank report of 2018, standards of living in Western Uganda, parts of Mbarara and Kole is very high. The economic indices, even the statistics released by Ugandan government shows that the standards of living has increased in greater parts of Western Uganda. So a person who has a high standard of living does not produce many children. Someone who is illiterate and less educated would produce more children. So scientifically, the Itesots with a lower standard of living have a high propensity to produce more children. There is no way then you can tell me that the standards of living is increasing in parts of Western Uganda and the population is increasing. That is not scientific. So I'm saying there was foul play. The population figures were tampered with for purposes of getting more MPs. But Odonga is here saying that no, the population census is not right. The numbers were adulterated. The districts were increased, as I have just adumbrated efficiently in the previous post. So what is the current status of Ugandan parliament? Western Uganda have 145 members of parliament. Wait a minute. In the southwest, 55, midwest, 19, in the Albertine, 21. 145. Eastern Uganda has 144 members of parliament. Northern Uganda has 127 members of parliament. And Central Uganda has 105 members of parliament. But let's do a qualitative analysis of the population trends in two places. Let's not look at regions, because someone can argue that Western Uganda is wide. Why are you talking of West as the lump sum figure? Yeah. So now let's go to the ethnic analysis. These are statistics. Someone out there may say Odonga is being tribal. I'm not being tribal. The ethnic groups have even been listed in the annex of the Constitution, so that we know who is where, for how long, and how long will they be there. So let's do a qualitative analysis for two ethnic groups to prove my point that this parliament has been grossly adulterated. In Ankole, Ankole comprises of 12 districts: Buwejo, Bushenyi, Ibanda, Isingiro, Kazo, Chirihura, Mbarara, Mitoma, Ntungamo, Rwampara, Rubirizi, and Shema. Ankole alone in parliament has 45 members of parliament. 45. Now, in Teso, with the districts of Amuria, Bukedia, Kaberamaido, Kapelebiong, Kumi, Ngora, Serere, they have 29 MPs. Now let's move back a little bit. I told you in 1969, Itesots were more than Banyankole. According to the 2014 population census, Banyankole are slightly more than Itesots in parliament. So what explains the fact that you have 45 MPs from Ankole and 29 MPs from Teso. This is a typical case of over-representation. And we have to start thinking. We are not going to just walk that, Honorable Odonga is a member of parliament, go and speak for us. No. We are saying some people are overrepresented because the statistics were manipulated. And this is wrong. This is foul play. And I challenge Uganda Bureau of Statistics, when you are releasing the population statistics, please release the statistics of each ethnic group. It's not for discrimination. It's for showing which ethnic group needs affirmative action. Now, some people may say, so what if other people are represented? Now, what is the problem if some groups are more represented in parliament? Look at these 4 scenarios of why parliament is very important. First of all, budgeting. Let's look at roads. The report released by UNRWA, just go and Google UNRWA reports, 2019-2020. It shows that 56% of all the roads tarmacked in Uganda are in Western Uganda. And 44% is shared by the rest of the country. So the national cake is not national. Hey, what are you talking about? The national cake is not national. The whole country, we tarmac more roads in one region. It's because the representation in parliament is not right. Last year, Uganda tarmac 5,398 kilometers of tarmac road. Out of that, 151 is in Lango, 163 kilometers is in Teso, 1,594 kilometers of tarmac road is in Buganda. Thank you, it's a city, we all live here, at least Buganda has got a fairly wide share of the tarmac roads. But if you go to Western Uganda, 569 kilometers of the tarmac roads is in Ankole. 500 again is still in the west in Rwenzori. 484 kilometers of the tarmac roads in Bunyoro, and 330 kilometers of the tarmac road is in Kigezi. So this is how we arrive at the figure of 56% of all the tarmac roads are in one region, because the representation on parliament is aqueous. It's not right. So we have to talk. Someone has to talk. The national objectives of the constitution is clear. It states under National Objective 12 that the state shall ensure balanced and equitable development. We have to speak about this. We are Ugandans by right. We all have to benefit from the taxes which we have paid. And we have to begin thinking how to correct this kind of issues. The constitution is very clear on how resources should be divided. There is even a formula in the constitution here which shows how money should be divided. Y1 is equal to Y0 plus BY0 plus X1 into bracket, Y plus B close bracket, Y0 plus X1. Many of you will not understand it. Let me not stress it. But as a graduate of economics from the prestigious Makerere University school, is that resources are divided, conditional and unconditional grants are transferred to local governments basing on the population and based on the indices of the previous financial year. So even money going to certain regions is more. One, why? They have said they have more people. Two, they have more districts. While I was a member of parliament and secondly was a speaker, I raised a formal motion in parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, you need to put a select committee and we review the amount of money going to certain regions. The national cake is not national. Thank God Edward II agreed and put a select committee. The select committee was headed by Hon.Dr.odonga. Rest in peace. Very nice man. I was invited before the committee. I presented my case. The first week of the committee, they are debating what is Western Uganda. And the committee ended without giving any report. The Okecho committee was frustrated. So we are not preaching sectarianism. We are preaching national unity because the constitution talks of equitable development. The constitution talks of affirmative action. So this parliament needs to be revisited. Now, what am I proposing as a critical thinker, as a nationalist, as a person who loves Uganda? One, there is need for a fresh population census. One day, there has to be a fresh population census. And even before we go for the census, we have to discuss the means and the methods of how the census should be done. I would even propose that people line up and we count people in one day, the way we do for voting. Uganda National Bureau of Statistics, you have skeletons in your closet. So there has to be a fresh population census. There is no way Ugandans can be 45 million people. No way. No. No. I drove to Remoyaga. There are no people. There are cows. In the hills, you see cows in the valley. Where are the people? We cannot be 45 million. I would bet at most Ugandans can be 37 million people. So where did the other people come from? We need to start debating that there should be a fresh population census in Uganda to determine our numbers. When we determine our numbers, then we shall determine how many MPs should be in parliament. 2, we need to redefine constituencies, because counting people alone is not enough. The Constitution says each MP would represent each constituencies, and there are 353 constituencies. Constituencies are a political creation. So I am saying we have to redefine constituencies afresh. Some villages have been declared as constituencies. Then after the population census, we will now find the ratio of MPs to the populace. And then the parliament will have to be reconstituted, and we have a reasonable parliament. These are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Please press the subscribe button. Thank you for watching the critical thinking. Hon.Dr.odonga says hello. Thank you.